Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. Senate Republicans trot out another Obamacare repeal and replace bill, and some of their colleagues waste no time in running away from it. Getting the bill to the Senate floor for debate may even be a challenge. More on that story in just a moment. First up, President Trump's visit to France for Bastille Day ceremonies did not get him far enough away from the international press corps to escape more questions about Russia and his son's dealings with a Russian lawyer. Tonight we're learning that lawyer was in the U.S. after direct involvement from a familiar name, Loretta Lynch, who would become President Obama's Attorney General, of course, a connection President Trump made very sure the world heard today. Let's start off tonight with Chief White House correspondent John Roberts, traveling with the President in the City of Lights. Good evening, John.
And good morning to you, Brett, and the traditional top-of-the-hour light show from the Eiffel Tower going on behind me. President Trump did not shy away today from addressing the firestorm of controversy surrounding his namesake eldest son, and also raised questions about how and why the woman his son met with was even in the country. President Trump faced the press this afternoon for the first time since news broke that his son Don Jr. had met with a Russian attorney he thought was looking to peddle damaging information about Hillary Clinton.
My son is a wonderful young man. He took a meeting with a Russian lawyer. It was a meeting that went very, very quickly, very fast.
The president dismissed the notion that Trump Jr. had done anything wrong, saying nothing came of the meeting, insisting that any political campaign worth its salt would have done the same thing.
It's called opposition research. I've had many people call up, oh, gee, we have information on this factor or this person or, frankly, Hillary. That's very standard in politics.
The president also pointed fingers at the press, arguing that the incident had been overblown, blaming the Obama administration for the fact the Russian attorney, Natalia Veselnitskaya, was in the country at all.
The lawyer that went to the meeting, I see that she was in the halls of Congress also. Somebody said that her visa or her passport to come into the country was approved by Attorney General Lynch.
When asked about the Trump Jr. matter, the president's host, French President Emmanuel Macron, deferred, saying it's not his practice to interfere in others' domestic life.
What a good answer that is.
President Trump's meetings with Macron were buoyed by the historic ties that bind the two countries. The two leaders took a tour of French military history at Les Invalides and visited the tomb of France's greatest military leader, Napoleon Bonaparte. But there are also thorny issues that divide the two leaders, beginning with the president's announcement to withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
I very much respect the decision taken by President Trump. He will work upon implementing his campaign promises next. Should that have an impact on the discussions we are having on all other topics? No, absolutely not.
President Trump appeared to indicate that pulling out of the accord may not be an absolute.
Something could happen with respect to the Paris Accord. We will talk about that over the coming period of time. And if it happens, that'll be wonderful. And if it doesn't, that'll be okay, too.
The president today defended his efforts to forge a better relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin at last week's G20, pointing to initial success with the Syrian ceasefire.
By having some communication and dialogue, we were able to have a ceasefire, and it's going to go on for a while. And frankly, we're working on a second ceasefire in a very rough part of Syria. And if we get that and a few more, all of a sudden you're going to have no bullets being fired in Syria.
And while President Trump has faced withering criticism over his desire to rebuild the U.S.-Russian relationship, Macron thought it was a no-brainer, revealing that he's doing it too.
We have a lot of disagreements. We have a lot of discrepancies, obviously, with Russia. But in the current environment, especially in the Middle East, it's a necessity to work together, to exchange information, to share these agreements, and to try to build solutions.
Aboard Air Force One on his way to Paris, President Trump revealed that he would consider inviting the Russian president to the White House for a visit. The president did say that the time would have to be right and that now is not the time. But to not invite the leader, he said, would be, quote, stupid. Brett?
John Roberts, live in Paris, just after midnight. John, thanks.